Hello, Pisces. Welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and today I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. All right, Pisces. So today we are entering with the Prince of Wands energy. I almost said swords. I was like, okay, wait a second. Hold up. No, we have that fire energy. We have that wand energy. We have that passionate, youthful, devoted to your impulses, devoted to your inclinations, devoted to, whatever it is that is inspiring you, whatever feels really important. I always think of the princess and the prince archetypes as being like, older, maybe like older teenagers, young adults. You get that energy of like, you go off to college, you find some causes that you're into, things that you really believe in, you align yourself with, those movements or belief systems or whatever it is, philosophies, art movements, whatever, what have you. And you're all about that life, right? And this is something, of course, that can be experienced at any age, but when you are young and you are coming into, your autonomy, your identities, and you haven't yet, or at least most people haven't yet. Oh, and I'm sorry. Oh, Papa Lakebo is laying over. Whew. You won't be happy about that, I don't think. We're going to have to make some offerings. I'm sorry, my love. So anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, so you get like so into things, and that can happen at any point in your life, of course, but when you're young and you don't have the responsibilities, right? You haven't had, those tower moments, at least hopefully you haven't, if you're lucky, if you had a pretty decent childhood, or at least, one that wasn't continually, falling apart or, whatever, but you get into that age where you still have the hope, the dreams, the motivation, the energy, the will, and you are impassioned. Yeah, that's a Prince energy. Absolutely. So I'm excited that we're starting with that because what happened down here? I think the cat, I'm noticing, I did not film yesterday because I was sick. We're in a sick house over here. And I believe somebody must have gotten into my office at some point, which they do. They do. They like to come and check things out. Oh, I'm so sorry. Anyways, yes, there we go. Perfect. Everything in its right place. Yes. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to spin this thing. I want to say thank you for being here. I love you. I absolutely feel so privileged to be able to share this energy and this space with you. If you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, that definitely helps the channel. Any kind of interaction, any kind of, sharing the videos with your friends or posting them or whatever. I'm not saying you have to, definitely. Don't like to be pushy about those kinds of things, but it does help the channel. Also, if you subscribe and hit that little bell thing, I guess it will send you notifications. I have high anxiety, so I don't have notifications for anything on my phone. It never makes any noise or anything like that. So, I absolutely get it if you don't like to hit that button. What is the other thing? If you want to leave a comment. Yeah. Also, if you have a prayer request, definitely put that in the comments, or you can email it to me at ulaishere@gmail.com. I get prayer requests every day. And I do read all of your emails and your comments. I sometimes take a minute to get back to you. But I definitely read them. Don't think I ever just skip over something, because I don't. I'm nosy and I'm obsessive, and I do love praying for people. I feel very lucky to be able to do that. Okay, so we have Thoth right up here, or Thoth, or Tot, however you like to call. We have in the ibis head version of Thoth, or Thoth, or Tot. I won't say it every time. I'm just going to go with Thoth. I usually say Thoth. Now, the ibis version, we also know we have the baboon, and there are various other forms of Thoth, or Thoth. And the ibis one I always think of as aligned with magic. Immediately, it is magic, it is magic, it is magic. So we have Thoth arriving in the magician form right here. You can see here's the head, here's the body, and also looking like standing on a chariot, not unlike the Prince of Wands, right? So we have a very impassioned magician energy. Now, the thing about Thoth is it's not just like any kind of magic. It is not necessarily like what we would call low magic, although I don't like that terminology. But low magic is more along the lines of like sympathetic, fetish, as in the magical style. Okay. And this is like, hands-on stuff. Like we're making, herb bundles, we're making charms, we're, spitting on the ground to purge things, stuff like that. Also, it could be things within the realms of like fondue or voodoo or, Santeria or, any of these kinds of working in the more hands-on folk traditions, right? Now, Thoth is usually more, in my mind anyways, aligned with things like ceremonial magic, hermeticism, somewhat of like the more composite versions of the Gnostic traditions, even within the picturics, right? Which is originates in the Middle East, okay? But these are things like talisman, sigils, and and using a lot of like planetary, right? So this is more of what we consider high magic, ceremonial magic, maybe even, like, I guess Western magic. I don't like that terminology either, because they all flow into each other, really. So this is more of a complex kind of academic, if you know who Manly P. Hall is, that dude is like the representation of Thoth for me. I think of like these kind of formal lectures and, like a Israel Regarde compilation going over, the traditions and the practices, the techniques, the, magical book glossaries just full of different jargon and terminologies and, whatever. So this, to me, indicates that you are coming into a period of time, Pisces, where you are in that magician, but also hierophant energy, the high priest. Okay, so you're taking things pretty seriously. I feel that you have found maybe a religion, a philosophy, a spiritual system, a practice of some kind, maybe like you're getting into like transcendental meditation, something like this that is kind of like, it is a practice that is encompassed by, a greater philosophy, system of, whatever it is. It's magic, it's religion, it's, not always do these systems like to be called these things, but they all draw upon each other, right? And they all are plugged into the same strands that lead back to the same sources, in my humble opinion, in my lowly, self-initiated opinion, right? So I do feel that there's like a flaming heart just sitting in your chest there, and it is this sense of like that saying, being on fire for Jesus, which I always was like, what does that mean? You know what? I had to get older. I had to experience moments of agape, of divine ecstasy, of being connected to the greater whole, to even begin to understand, what does that mean? What is the Sacred Heart? What is it to be in love and loved by the divine? You know, whatever name you put on that, whatever icon or mythologies or stories or allegories, whatever it looks like to you, when you have these moments in life where suddenly you feel so absolutely plugged into it all, right? And you can maybe for the first time in a long time love something without any kind of negatives, right? Like, or there's, you fall in love with somebody, and no matter how good that dynamic is and how wonderful they are and how wonderful you are, there are always going to be things that come up, right? If that is between the two of you or the greater family or other people involved, it doesn't matter. Things will always come up. But when we have a relationship with the divine, when we have a relationship with whatever it is that we think of as God, goddess, cosmos, high sciences, whatever, there's not often as much of that negative. Now, I will say, I'm thinking of this through the eyes of somebody who sits in a place of great privilege, because I have not, at least not in any important way, experienced religious or spiritual intolerance. Okay. I am very aware that this is something that is rampant in the world, and it always has been, and unfortunately it might always be. But what I'm getting at is our quiet experience with the divine that is only for us in this place where we are safe and open and vulnerable, and we can be whatever we are in the light of God, goddess, divine, ineffable. We are safe there. And when you find your way into that place, even just a little bit, even if it is so very briefly, you close your eyes for a minute, there's a flash of it, it is unmistakable. There's no way to get that wrong. This is how I knew personally that I needed to be self-initiated and continue my practices through my own my own kind of all over the place kind of way, because for so long I would try to learn within things like, Thelema or, theosophy or whatever. And I wanted to do the work. I wanted to get in there. I wanted to be gang, I wanted to belong. Who doesn't? But I always felt like I just didn't get it exactly. Nobody could explain things to me in a way that made complete sense. And then I just went back to how I was when I was a kid. I just followed my impulses. If I wake up at, 4:30 in the morning and get up and I'm making my coffee, and all of a sudden I have this calling to go outside and, cry next to a great mullein and talk to it and make my appeals and give it offerings of whatever fruit, water, whatever it is, I'm gonna do it. I don't care if it makes sense. I don't care if anybody understands. I don't care if I understand. I'm gonna do it because it feels right. okay? And you know what? Through living in that way as much as I possibly can, I have had moments where I knew I was with God. I have had moments where I knew I was with Mother. I have had moments where I knew, like, the sky opened up and spoke to me, looked right at me as I looked at it. And we flirted like two people across the room that have, haven't been hugged in a long time. You know what I'm saying? Like, absolutely. And to me, looking at this, I feel that you are in a place where you have felt, you are experiencing this connection. And now there is a desire to have some kind of framework to understand it through. And so I do see you going towards more maybe academic explanations of, I don't know, whatever it is. Maybe you're into Tantra, yoga, Thelema. As I said, I know there are some Thelemites out here. 93s to all of you. I'm not initiated, but, I'm around. I'm around, but whatever it is. So that seems super important. Now, we also have over here a person holding a flower, smelling it. Above, we have, it looks like the egg. Okay, so we have beginnings. We also have a large scorpion, you can see. So I do feel that there is a sense of maybe in your life having a Scorpio person or somebody who, maybe they're really, really into Kenneth Anger. They put you on, right? If you have never seen a Kenneth Anger movie, proceed with caution. It is adult content, or at least, should be for the more mature, not for children. And Lucifer Rising. Excellent. Rabbit Moon, my favorite. That's my favorite one. But there's also Scorpio Rising. And go and check out his movies. If you're interested in, I think he was a Thelemite, maybe Golden Dawn. I don't know. Maybe OTO, actually. I'm not sure. He was a Hermeticist for sure. But also, like a bizarro 60s, 70s occultist, and hung out with, Anais Nin, Marjorie Cameron. Are you kidding me? Yeah. So anyways, super cool, weird art films. Go check them out. But to me, I'm looking at this and it's feeling like you have somebody who really influenced you. It's almost kind of like that vibe of like, your best friend's older sister or older brother like is really into cool music, and like every time you go to their house you kind of peep game on like what posters were up on the wall so you could like go and find the music and like check it out because they're so cool and you want to be like them when you grow up, and I feel like you had this person, and they might still be in your life, but I think that they really influenced you in a way that not all Pisces kind of have this real motivation to look for things that are authentically within your interests, your tastes. Now, I'm not saying that, as a Pisces, like you just kind of, go along with whatever's popular, but I don't think it's super important to most Pisces to be like, finding all the newest, coolest trends and that kind of stuff. However, I do feel like for you, you have that like bug to find, you're like a what we call a crate digger, which is somebody who goes and, digs through records, or, goes to like old bookstores and goes through stacks and boxes of old used books to find stuff that you want, right? So I think that you kind of have that searching thing, that desire to find the next thing. Now, I think a lot of it is from growing up around somebody like this. Now, this could also be like your parent, right? I kind of have that bug because my father was a big used bookstore guy, big record store guy. And I spent a lot of my childhood going to the river, swimming all day, and then like going and looking for, records in the afternoon. And that was life, man. That was life back before phones. You just wandered around looking for, a place to get a good tea and a place to find a record and a nice little cove on the river or at the lake to go swimming at. And that was good enough, So this person really helping plant this seed of, the wise wanderer. I do feel that there just seems to be this, like, you are coming into a new era, right? Like, maybe a lot of the stuff that you have been into for the last, 10 years or whatever, it just is getting like, okay. And I'm not talking about like doom scrolling burnout where you're just like, I've seen the same things over and over and over and I'm, on to the next meme cycle or whatever. No, I feel like this is like, every once in a while when we start to change our identity and like, for me, I've become like workout mom the last year or so, and super into that world for myself. I don't go to the gym. I work out at home, but you just get obsessed with certain things, and then it's not just like I'm super into this right now or whatever. It becomes part of a lifestyle, right? You're making a new lifestyle for yourself. I also feel like there's like an aesthetic change happening a little bit. Maybe you're trying different clothing, different colors, different style for the house, decorations, changing, getting a different couch, whatever it is. I feel like there's a lot shifting, but the big part here too is I feel like maybe this is like the newest thing for you, stopping and enjoying what you have created, stopping and enjoying what you have worked hard for. I remember seeing this thing about like, stop saving all the best perfume and like, you get like a nice hand cream or something. I know I'm that age, getting hand cream for Christmas or, a holiday or whatever. And it's, a nice one and it smells good, but you feel guilty to use it so quickly. And so it sits on the, on the dresser in its beautiful place and its beautiful bottle. And next thing you know, it's been sitting there for like a year and a half and you have only used it like 3 times. Why? Why do we do this? And we do it with so many things. So many things. Why do we do this? I have freaking, what are those things called? Like the bags, the reusable totes. Like I've gotten at, like I go to do like a 5K walk or something and they give you one of them. And I'll be like, oh, this one's really nice. I don't want to ruin this one. So I'll save it and I have like 50 of them. And I don't use the nice ones because I don't want to ruin them, but you keep getting them. And it's like, what are you doing? Why even do you care that the tote is nicer? Like, why is that such an important thing when you're middle-aged? Please, somebody explain it to me because literally it is ridiculous, but it is. I don't think it's like I'm the only one. I know I'm not the only one. So anyways, I feel you allowing yourself to indulge in the things that you have worked for, the things that you have acquired. You're getting to that place in your life where it's like, dude, I had better start taking those vacation days. I had better, every year I say, oh, I'm going to go back home and visit everybody. And then I say, well, maybe I'll put it off till next spring, and well, won't cost as much, and I gotta save up some money, and then it just goes on like that every year, and then it's 5 years. You haven't been home for 5 years. You haven't been home for 10 years, and finally we get to a place in our life where it's like, I'm just gonna have to do this. I'm just gonna have to do it. Might not be ideal. Might make me feel guilty that I'm using the good hand cream. But you know what? I'm going to do it. The hot chocolate, too. I know I'm not the only one that gets, like, fancy hot chocolate for Christmas or whatever. And now I have, like, 4 things of it. And I still am like, well, I don't want to use the fancy stuff. Why? Drink the hot chocolate. Use it up. All right, here we go. We also have the house. Okay, look at that. You can see the little roof. Now, when we turn it this way, we also have a deer. You can see the head. Here's the nose. Here are the antlers and the body over here. Okay, so this tells me there are... Oh, and here's some more deer down here too. Okay, so it tells me that there are very overt, recognizable phenomena happening. Like, I mean, maybe not like poltergeist, ghost type of stuff, but you are having synchronicities. You are having moments in the house where you feel something. You can feel something looking at you. You see, you look out the window and you see like an orb on the sky or by the tree line, or, whatever it is. I mean, these are things that you're like, okay, this is not just, my mind playing tricks on me. This is like very apparently the universe is trying to talk to you. So I do feel like this is happening in the home, but also around it, because we have it looks like multiple homes and maybe like the yard, and so I do feel like this is happening in more than one place, but it is based around the homestead or your home, right? It might be like down the street that you've seen, maybe you live in like a development or whatever, and you have like one of those little parks down the way, and you're like walking down the road and you see something happen over there. It's something close to home though, okay? And I don't feel like this is like any kind of haunting or any kind of oppressive energy. It just feels like all of a sudden the simulation is like not trying to be as covert, right? The Matrix is like letting you kind of see the other layers kind of popping up, right? Just kind of, and it feels almost kind of like maybe you have entered like a portal, right? Or a thin area. They talk about this with like the fae, if you step into like a fairy circle, and it might be that you get taken to fairyland, or it could also be that you start to perceive the thinning of the veil. Reality doesn't seem exactly like consensus reality anymore. Very much you're in that higher realm of the Malkuthian sphere that begins to, fork off into the pathways that are attached to other spheres. So you're getting energies from those other places, and it's becoming very apparent to you. Okay, so don't be afraid. But I do feel that, it's important to document, get a little journal, a little, notepad or something. Keep track of what's happening. Okay, take notes. Take notes. Okay, here we go. We have, it looks like an enthroned person with a bird down here, but it feels like a raptor kind of bird, like an eagle, but it is not flying. It's kind of sitting there. So we also have in the hand of the person, they have a fish. So this is money. Also fairly phallic. It could be very fertile. Oh, and we have a plane too. Okay. So I feel that within the realm of money, work, somebody professing love. Look at this. A person here, they're kneeling. Okay, so maybe there is some kind of, well, a proposal coming up. It doesn't have to be marriage, but it's something, and that is a fly. A little fly. Sorry, you guys. Not an orb. It's a fly. I need a drink. Thank you. I know I'm goofy. I have, we've been sick over here, and you can tell it from my voice, so I just absolutely am. I'm just riding that wave, that silly wave right now. But a proposal of some kind. Now, we do have that plane, and we also have the enthroned with the money. And so it does feel, it feels like somebody, maybe it's you, maybe it's like your adult kid is going to get married, or I don't know, but something where it feels like you're going to be traveling for it. There's going to be like a big to-do. But this union seems super blessed. Whatever it is, if like somebody's going into business together, if there's a project that's starting together, but I do feel like it's going to end up being very lucrative, even if like it is like your kid getting married and they've met this wonderful person. I feel like whoever is involved in this, if it's you, if it's them, when they align themselves and this union begins, like truly is locked in, it will create an energy, a flow that is going to bring money. So I do feel like this is a very blessed union, whatever it looks like, whatever it is. And I do feel like for you, there is a sense of being jovial, and also being optimistic. I don't think you always allow yourself to feel optimistic about things, but I feel like in this situation, you absolutely do. Now, we're going to do our lucky numbers. Okay, so we have number 19. 19. We have number 39. And we have number 67. 67. All right. And we will finish with our Wild Offering Oracle cards. And I'm just going to flip through, stop where it feels right. And we have spaciousness. What do I no longer need? Help me, God, to release whatever people, places, or things drain my vital essence. Show me what will fill me with enthusiasm and joy. Enthusiasm and joy. All right. Well, Pisces, I love you. Thank you for spending this time with me. I lost the little stone that had the sign on there. I was like thinking I was going to be slick and do a reading upstairs, and I put it in a pocket. I don't know, so I had to reorder. Had to get some new ones. They'll be back soon. I've dropped so many of them that like a lot of them are broken, and so it's okay. I needed new ones anyways. But anyways, Pisces, if you want to, did I say like, subscribe, leave a comment? It's really helpful. I don't know. We'll wrap it up. I love you. I love you. I love you. Take care of yourself. We're going to talk soon. Good night.